All right, everyone. Thanks for joining us. This is the Social Kick Podcast, okay? I'm joined by some of my great friends here. We got the historian, the Trinidadian, Mr. Luke Paddington. We got Mr. Iron, supposedly that's his nickname, Mr. Brian Lundquist here. And I'm the scientist, John Mullen. And we have a special guest with us here today. If you don't follow Ohio high school swimming enough, clearly you don't know the best swimming state, arguably the best swimming state in the United States here.
Swimming enough, clearly you don't know
Margo Geer. Margo, how you doing today?
I'm great. Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for having me. You guys are awesome. I appreciate some swim talk.
Perfect. Well, this is truly for all the swim nerds here. But I forgot to ask, Luke, Brian, what are you guys drinking tonight?
I'm drinking a Stella. I decided to go a little high class today, except that, the thing that I don't like about Stella usually is why I'm drinking out of the bottle is I don't like stemware. So, bottle for Stella.
Dorian, what are you drinking?
I just had the YouTube channel going off live, so I heard you guys talking twice. I had 8 people talking to my ear for a second, so give me a second. That's great.
Yeah, tech guy. You're supposed to be the tech guy. Now you're really
I know.
the historian here.
I'm not used to this YouTube young people stuff. No, I'm joking. I'm drinking a orange hazy cream ale kind of drinky with an Australian koozie my Aussie friend gave it to me. So I never been.
Margo, what do you think of that drink Luke's having?
It sounds pretty good. It's a cream ale.
Yeah, it's a cream ale of like orange flavor. So it's pretty good. And
is this a California special?
San Jose, California. You're right. Well done. Yep.
Margo knows her beers apparently. But what are you drinking tonight, Margo?
Just some water right now out of my own bottle over here.
Excellent. So obviously Margo's been, having a great few years in the pool here, training her butt off for the Olympics, and as we all know, it's been postponed, unfortunately. So why don't we just dive right into it and get, your perspective on it? We had, Milo Kavic talking about his view and how he would have felt if it was postponed when he swam, and he said he would have been pretty frustrated with it. So as a swimmer that's having, a great few years, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think everything. First of all, it's been kind of a roller coaster of emotions, I would say. Leading up to the postponement, just not really knowing what was going to happen, kind of making some assumptions and speculation and all that stuff. So definitely like up and down leading into the postponement. And then when the decision was actually made, I think overall, like everyone's in total agreement that it's the right thing to do. We totally agree. But it doesn't really change the fact that it's pretty devastating in terms of just, that was just really the light at the end of the tunnel for us in terms of like training and all the time and energy that we've put into this season. And so I think it's kind of relatable to anyone at this point because a lot of things have been canceled and a lot of things that people were working towards have kind of just been taken away or postponed, I guess. Not necessarily taken away, but just kind of saved for a later date. And so that's kind of the way I've been thinking about it is, the process has maybe changed a little bit in terms of the length, but the overall goal is still kind of the same. Like it's still there. It's just been changed in terms of time.
Margo, the last 2 guys we spoke to, they've been to like 8 Olympics between them, and you haven't been to one yet. But this would be in your 4th trials, yeah?
Correct. Yep.
How ready did you feel you're ready? Like, how are you feeling? Like, I mean, how worried or how okay are you of the year postponement? I mean, you had a good trials in 12. Where you made finals at 7th or something, right? And then 16 is disappointing, I bet. Given your college career, absolutely. And then you had a really good swim in 2018 and last year with Pan Am's. So how are you feeling now? And was this like a really solid, really good place?
Yeah, so I'd say, since coming back to swimming in 2017 and working with the new coach and just having a totally different training regimen, I feel like I've been on a pretty good trajectory in terms of improving and just continuing to get better. And so I felt like this season I had a pretty good ISL season, which was really fun. And then my meets I've been kind of getting better. Each Tier Pro Series meet, which obviously was cut short, so I had only been to 2, but I was feeling really good about where I was, and training, was starting to get in that mode where we were getting a lot of speed work in and starting to kind of sharpen everything. So we were getting ready for that end of the season. So it was pretty devastating in terms of, I had kind of geared in my mindset this whole year was, swimming like it was my last year. Like I was putting everything into it. Like this would be the last time I, do a certain set that was just crazy. Like that, it was the last time. And it was the last time I'd have to go to a weight session where I'm trying to do this and this and this. And so in my mind, that's what I was really pushing myself. And so, that part will be hard, I think, to kind of redial into, because I was really thinking of it in terms of, okay, this will be the last time.
Did you have a lot of like financial setups, like you had to hit a certain goal, and your banking of that, your sponsorships, your your accommodations? How has that affected your finances life? We talked about a bit with Milo as well,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would say, I mean, the meets that come in the spring, the summer are definitely money makers. And I would say, swimming contracts are pretty heavily incentive based. So depending on how you rank at the end of the season, you get a lot of money based on that. I'm in a position where, I'll be okay. I'm definitely going to take a hit, but there have been other things in place that have kind of set me up pretty well. And honestly, the ISL has been kind of we always knew that it was going to help us financially, but this year especially, it was kind of nice for people who did participate in ISL in the fall and might not make as much money in the spring and summer. They were able to make some of that in the fall, which I think is really nice for people that are in the rankings, but maybe not necessarily in that like top 8 or top 10 world ranking yet.
Yeah, we can go depth on ISL, but the dynamics of last season, of course, of the inaugural season. So everybody's kind of feeling it out and trying to understand the format. And you got some people that kind of go all out for it and sell out and do really well and have great results that you might not expect to see at the top of the podium. Big meet in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And in some cases, top podium athletes from the past might participate in one meet, and that's it. So, we were looking forward to this coming ISL season to see how that changes after the Olympics. And now we're back to perhaps a similar approach. How do you think the postponement of the Olympics affects the ISL season?
Well, it has completely changed the ISL season from what they were planning on doing. So I don't know how familiar you are with they just came out with an announcement like last weekend, I think last Friday, the change of everything. So,
right.
and I don't even know if that's really like completely set in stone. I think
they are still they're figuring it out, right?
Yeah, it still seems like they're kind of ironing out all the details, but yeah, I agree with you. I think that the season 2 will kind of, well, since it's not really set in stone, I think it would have been similar to season 1, but now it's not going to be at all because they're going to cut it short, and they're actually talking about just doing a training camp and having some meets inside of like a 4 to 6 week block. And so that in itself will be way different than what we did this past season. In terms of like how it fits into the schedule with the Olympics, I think it'll be kind of similar where you'll have some people who will still like really go all in for those meets and for that camp, I guess. And some people who will probably not do ISL maybe at all. I'm not sure. I don't want to speak for people, but I think it'll kind of be similar where there's going to be some people who dive into it deep and some people who don't.
Yeah, I'm intrigued. Like you said, there's so much changing. There's so many moving parts, obviously, with the Olympics, and obviously the Olympics dictates what happens with the ISL. But I think all of us really enjoyed the ISL. Like I said, we're big swim nerds here, so we were watching everything. We enjoyed the different perspectives. Sure, we had our opinions on it, but thought it was great. And we were thinking after the Olympics, it was really hopefully going to take that next step, as well as seeing maybe more swimmers make these their focus meets on non-Olympic years. Do you think that's how it would have transitioned if this all would have played out with season 2 being after the Olympics?
I think so. So they did add the two extra teams to this season, and so there are going to be more athletes involved number wise, which I think is really good. I don't know how informed I am about other people's views, but I feel like from what I got out of season 1 and just talking with the people on my team, at least, they were super excited about the setup and the chance to really get visibility, to market yourself, and to create some more financial stability within the season through the ISL. So I think at least the people that I talked to were pretty pumped for that.
And it's a bit more than that, Margo? Most of the people on your team swam NCs, right? All but maybe 2. I think the 2 Brazilians probably didn't swim NCs in your team. But so those who didn't swim at NCs in North America, they never got that team spirit rivalry, doing it all for the team. The skins is what matters, not what time I do. It must have been fantastic for those who have not swum in a college environment. Yeah, you saw that.
Daddy, and speaking out here with his global view.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had 2 things to compare it to. Obviously, the college dual meet seasons and college, just that environment, but also summer league a little bit. I don't know how much that's in your days, but I kind of got a bit of my old summer league feeling back into it too, which was pretty fun, I think. But yeah, I think overall.
So you're saying they were serving fun dip?
They were
into summer league concession stands foods before me. I had a long talk about this one on our ride home from Tahoe.
pretzel cheese.
Exactly, pretzel with cheese, fun dip, all the good stuff.
That's something that George Bovell talked about a couple of weeks ago, about this really realizing why you want to go to the Olympics and why we do this, and looking into the love of swimming. And you just mentioned 2 things that get back to the love of swimming, so why we do this, right? We like being in the water, but also we just love the camaraderie and the racing. And I think that's what a lot of athletes probably have to lean on right now in these times that you're going through, just to realize why you're doing this and what's the journey you're on and how much you're enjoying that. What are your thoughts about that? Do you love swimming? Do you absolutely love it, or is it just a pain in the butt right now and it's a job? How do you feel?
No, I love swimming, and I've always loved just actually being in the water and moving through water. So I think some people I love racing, and I love teammates, and I love a bunch of aspects of swimming. But I think the thing that's probably at the top of my list is just being in the water. And I've loved that since I was little. And that's kind of it's just a super raw feeling for me that I've had since I first jumped in the pool. But yeah, I think this time is, it's really hard. It's hard because you're not in the water, right? We're trying to come up with all these other things to do to try to replicate being in the water, but when it comes down to it, we're just not. And so I think a lot of people are just banging their heads against the wall trying to figure out how to do something that replicates freestyle or whatever. I haven't really gone into that because, like I said, I just like being in the water. So if I can't be in the water, I'm probably just going to do something else that's totally just something different. I've been playing tennis or stuff like that. But this time, doing all those other things definitely makes me realize how much I miss just being in the water itself.
Is this the longest you've been out of the water since age 4?
No, actually, I took almost a 10-month, almost a year break after 2016. So I feel like in some ways I'm not. I am a rare case. Most people haven't taken a break longer than 2 weeks or something like that. And so I think I've kind of wrapped my head around okay, when I took 10 months off, I came back and I swam my best time, you know, after just a couple months of training. So
Yeah.
I'm not totally convinced that like this break is like is a disaster and a terrible thing. And I think it's going to be really good. I think people would be surprised.
It's the same thing Kavik said, eh? Remember you said that? And Brian, you experienced that in your career as well, Brian. You came back from 2 hiatus and swam well.
Yeah, I didn't take 10 months off, but I took 4. I just did a study abroad semester, and I put on a few extra pounds, but I was just strength training. And then I came back and went to nationals on 9. I touched the water 9 times, went to nationals and went 90% best times. And people were like calling me fat on the pool deck, and it totally was.
Strong
But
like iron.
I mean, yeah, but like, so I mean, Margo, what translated for you? 10 months off. I would imagine maybe that surprised you, but did it surprise you? And like, what do you think translated well?
I don't think it really surprised me, but this is the thing, is that I don't think I had any expectations. Like, I don't think I had any idea what I could go or would go. And so I think that maybe was like part of it too. Because I had never taken that much time off. So it was like, wow, who knows what I'm about to go in this? Like, I have no clue. Like what translated the most, honestly, like when I took the 10 months off, I really didn't work out much at all. I was kind of lost in terms of like what I wanted to, like what I was even interested in outside of the pool. Like I would kind of mess around with like biking and, you know, like workouts here and there, but nothing really consistent. But for me, I felt like I was super refreshed mentally, and I started, like, I was competitive. I've always been competitive. So when I came back, that was never really lost.
Yeah, I'm intrigued to hear more about what you're doing right now. We had one audience question about how you're keeping your power up. Obviously, as a sprinter, power is huge. You mentioned a little bit about what you're doing, and I don't know, don't hurt yourself with all these land activities during this time. As a PT, I have to.
I don't know if you see my black, like I have
some battle scars.
So we, like last Friday, Cooley, so my coach, his name's Cooley Stickles, and we did a webinar with the race club group. They had us on, and Cooley ran me through a dryland. And so one of the exercises I was doing a somersault. And I got into my shoulder, I hit my cheek weird, so I actually have a little bruise from that. But besides that, I've been staying on some weights. I have access to a weight room here, so I've been staying on that, which is pretty important for me. I lose muscle pretty easily. And strength. So I've been staying on that. And then on like the odd days of the week when I'm not doing the weight room stuff, I've been going to a tennis court at the park, and actually just working on some like jumps and skips and like short sprint type stuff. And I'm actually using a resistance band, like the one that we use in the pool.
Mm-hmm.
So like stretch cords.
Yeah.
I'm actually using that, but I'm doing that with like short acceleration of like running. And so I'm not really like someone who's going to go outside and run like 3 to 5 miles. Like I would get injured from that. So I've resorted to kind of starting from the basics and kind of relearning how to like jump and bound and skip and do things that I haven't done. We do every now and then in dryland, but I haven't done this consistently, so.
Yeah, those bands have been sold out in Swim Outlet. You can't get them anywhere. It's everybody's wanting them. So.
Yeah. What do you think what are you focusing on from a cardio standpoint?
Honestly, just maintaining. I have access to a row machine, so row machine and biking. But I honestly haven't been trying to kill myself too much right now, just because this is kind of a strange time, and I've been pretty, I don't want to say stressed out, but just like I was saying in the beginning, like it's been very up and down. So I'm kind of just letting my body like not totally go overboard on working out, but staying in shape.
I wanted to ask you about the last couple years. So especially after coming back from a period of time off, and then like really taking a jump forward in your career. It seems like you're really on this really good arc, and are still on that, right? And so I'm wondering about your training program change and how, like, what you've been focusing on and what you think you're really doing well.
Okay, so I think it's a two-pronged thing. So like there's the things that I'm doing well, and I think I have really good training, and like my coach has given me some really good like opportunities to enhance what I do well and then get better at what I don't do well. So I'll kind of dig into like what the philosophy of my coach and how that's really changed my overall like training, I guess. So Cooley Stickles, he came from, well, I don't know where he came from, all over really, but right now he's at the University of Alabama. He's the head coach. He works with a small sprint group, and that's what I'm a part of. He is a total just outside of the box guy. Loves to do his own thing. He doesn't really like to, I don't want to say copy, but he just doesn't really like to base off of other people much. So he's just constantly trying to think of his own things and be unique. And he's really into speed and power. And I think a lot of coaches think that they're into speed and power, and they say that they're into speed and power, but maybe maybe they're not as far on the spectrum, I guess, as where we're at. And
should we get into an officer sprint set, by the way?
Yeah, no, we should.
This is an inside joke of our Masters team. We have a guy, same with at Purdue, who runs all of our Masters workouts. This is definitely the longest sprint he's ever been on right now. He's going crazy. And his sprint sets are, Brian, Iron, you want to get into what a sprint set for him is?
Oh, it's just everything's short rest. Everything's fast. It's like use fast loosely. You know how it is. Like all these like coaches that think like you can write fast on the board and it actually means fast. But I think that's what you're saying. It's like, no, you guys actually take fast to it as a serious word. So yeah, go on.
And so I feel like he's really dialed into the science of like, you know, anaerobic training and how to really improve speed, strength, and power. I just think he has a really good grasp on that. And I think he's really good at translating the things that we do on land to the water. And so that's part of it. And then I think on my side, I've been really open-minded in terms of when I started working with Cooley, I was pretty much like, I'm at kind of, you know, the more towards the end of my swimming career. And so I'm really open to anything. Like I'll try anything. I'll, you know, if you think whatever will help me get 0.2 faster, like I'm totally open to trying it. So I think I definitely bought into his training and the way he thinks of things. So I think those two things combined have just been really helpful for what I've been doing the past couple of years.
Margo, why did you say that? Why did you say that you're nearing the end of your swimming career? And you said, you know, you're approaching this is your last big meet and your last big set and stuff. What made you feel like that? And this is going back to like some earlier podcast we had when we talked about, you know, I think I regretted ending swimming at age 24. I mean, we all kind of did what we did. But, you know, you got swimmers going on to their 30s easily, especially in what you do and getting better. What makes you feel like that? Is it just like you're good? You're happy where you're at and that's it? And, you know, where you're at right now mentally?
Yeah, I think, well, when I was just speaking of that, I think I just meant, like, I've been swimming since I was 5.
Right.
So I just went towards the end, like towards the last part. But I also feel like, I don't know. I don't know. I shouldn't say that I won't continue into my 30s. I didn't think I would continue into the age I'm at right now. So I'm not going to really put like a limit on it. But I do agree with you that I think that you can continue to get better and faster and at at a way, way down the road. And I think people cut themselves short sometimes, and they don't think they can keep improving, or they think, oh, I'm 25. Oh my gosh, I'm way too old to keep swimming. But I don't think that's the case. And with all these other things we've been talking about financially, it could be more, you could have more stability with it, hopefully in the next couple of years even. And
a good environment around you. It sounds like you have a very good environment right now, which fits you perfectly. So that's what's important, So.
Absolutely. I think that's what draws me to stay in the sport, is that it's just such, I mean, you guys have it right now. Like you say, you guys have all met through swimming, or someone you knew through swimming. And so that's the stuff that I love about the sport, is like just all the connections you make. And I think the environment that swimmers create is really special.
Yeah, I remember having a talk with Brandon Fisher, who has, he's working a full-time job now. He's going best times, and we just talked about how you have to do it for yourself. And luckily, we're in a place now where you can have a full-time job, especially as a sprinter, and still train, and hopefully still ride out, like Brian was saying, your improvement curve, and how people are, or maybe Luke was saying, that you can have improvements into your 30s here. So, obviously, we'll see how this next year takes you. But have you considered trying to find that balance between, full professionalism with a full-time job and training?
I've thought about the question you're posing, but so I want to get into coaching. I want to get into swim coaching after I'm done competing. And so personally, I'm not saying I'd be completely done swimming. Like I might still get in the water, but I think for me personally, like once I get into coaching, I really want to like dive into that. And I don't think I necessarily want to continue my swimming career. I think I'd be ready to like move into the coaching side of it. I just think that'd be kind of hard, but I don't know. We'll see.
Could be a lot of time in the pool or at the pool.
Yeah, maybe like too much consumption of being at the pool, being on deck, being around, all that. So,
well, what are you doing to fill your time now, or what's occupying your time, and where are you spending it? Considering that you're not as focused on we're so far out, so you're a little bit slow on the just focusing on current fitness and everything now. What's going on in your life?
Yeah. So the first couple of days I was kind of just like, I don't really know what to like read or what to like watch. I'm not really like a TV person, so I don't there's not really like, I'm kind of watching a show right now, which is kind of rare.
What is it? Let's hear it.
I'm watching Ozark.
Love Blind? Oh, Love Blind? Oh, no, Ozark, okay.
And I'm on season
Ozark is great.
I'm on season 3 now.
Good.
Yeah. So that's been going on. But I was kind of just starting to read stuff that I was interested in, stuff that was just coming to my mind that I wanted to learn about. And it was all really stuff about training and science and just how to move better. And which is what I've always been interested in, but now I kind of have time to actually read about it. So I actually bought a couple different like physical education books about movement for kids and like youth, because when I do get into coaching, that's something I'm interested in, and is like how to help them move better. So it goes over just like games and like gymnastics movements and things like that. So I'm kind of thinking like, okay, things that I could do in dryland with kids later. And then I've also been wanting to study and take the CSCS test for through the National Strength and Conditioning Association. And so I actually have it right here. I bought the textbook.
Oh, you got the book? Oh, you make Justin's day. Another one of our hosts here. He's got that book here, and shout out to that National Strength and Conditioning Association. Best one around here.
And it doubles as a dumbbell in the off season.
Exactly. It is heavy. It is a hefty book. It's 24 chapters, I think.
It's a big one. Yep.
Yeah, I'm on chapter 2, so I can't say I've gotten too far, but
Margo, all this coaching knowledge you're picking up and all this experience you're gaining, now in your career, how much are you applying that to yourself? You know, like we always talk about, I wish I knew now. I wish I knew back then what I know now about nutrition, about mental, my psychology, and being honest with myself. And honestly, the right coach has to be with you for that journey at certain points in your time, right? How much do you then apply and coach yourself? And then what kind of relationship is that with Cooley? Are you guys like, you know, like kind of like, you know, back and forth? How do you feel? I feel like this is a banter. What kind of coach do you need, and how do you coach yourself, I should say? Because you find that later in career.
Yeah, I would say currently I've just learned so much, because I have had a few different coaches now.
Yeah.
So I have learned so much from all of them, and they've been extremely different in their, you know, personalities and just overall like philosophies and things. So I've definitely used every bit that I can from all the coaches, but I would say I'm becoming a much better coach of myself.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think about this. I've had this conversation about, you know, could I ever coach myself and just swim by myself and, you know, go, you know, be in a different location and not have to worry about being at a college campus with a college team to be with a coach.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think that I just benefit so much from having a coach, because I'm able to communicate with someone and collaborate and really like dig deep with them. And I think it's good to like be able to be able to have thoughts with yourself and like go over, you know, what could be best for me and things. But I think at the end, it's good to like have someone to like build a relationship with, to go through it with, for myself personally. And so, yeah, I think I've found, you know, Cooley is someone that's really, really like welcomed me and welcomed like how analytical I am about swimming and knows that about me. And I think we work pretty well together, because he keeps a balance where, you know, you don't want to be thinking about too much stuff, but at certain times it's good to ask questions, and it's good to get the answers that you need to make sure you're fully bought into the system.
Give me an example of a conversation you have. Like, say, for instance, he asks you to go dive 25. You know, what's a conversation you have when you touch that wall? It comes up to you. How did you feel? You say, well, I felt like crap. He says, you look good. Like, give me an example of some interaction you have. I don't know the dynamic of it.
Okay. I would say during practice, we don't talk much during the practice. So I would say during the practice, it's very much business. So if he, you know, if we're at the end of practice, he says, get up, let's go dive 25. Yeah. I'll do one. He'll say, too slow, whatever, 10, whatever, too slow, do another one. But it wouldn't be, how do you feel? Let's fix this in that moment.
Okay.
So it would be much more just get up, do this. Okay, it was too slow. He's making me kind of figure out, okay, what do I need to do to he's not telling me like you did this. Yeah. But then after the practice or at another time when we're not on deck, I would maybe go to sit down and say, hey, for the past couple of weeks, I've been working on this. I feel like I'm not getting anywhere, or, you know, what do you think? Like, what else do I need to think about, or what else do I need to focus on?
Right. Or
maybe we'll go through and just look at a race and really break down the race. So I would say during the practice, not so much verbal like feedback and like constantly. He's much more of like, you need to just figure it out in that moment, and then we'll kind of talk about it later.
Cool.
Yeah, I think you're hitting on some big points. We're getting some good comments about just, obviously, I don't know if I should say Cooley's got some fanboys out there, but everyone's interested in what is attractive to him, what's in his, you know, his mind. Someone asked it, you know, when you should transition to working with him, and I think you already kind of talked about it. Was it tough, and how did you kind of keep an open mind with some of his philosophies?
Okay, so we'll go with, was it tough? Okay. Are you familiar with Cooley? I don't know if have you met him, or like, you know who he is? Okay. So I would say upon like first impressions, people might say we're like very opposite. I'm usually very reserved. I'm pretty quiet. it takes a while for me to like say much. I would say Cole is kind of the opposite. He's not afraid to be vocal. He's kind of like in your face, like I'm here sort of person. And so it's kind of maybe it's surprising that we work so well together, but I think that kind of like I was hitting on before is like, I think he kind of brings a balance to me. So I think like I benefit from that sometimes because I need to be a little bit more like that. And then I think I make him think about things a little bit more too and like what we're doing. What else? A tough transition. It honestly wasn't a tough transition. And I think the awesome thing with this sort of training is that it's so engaging. And I'm someone who I need variety, and I need like when I say speed, like I need like fast paced moving things. Like I get bored very easily, and that is exactly how Cooley is when he's coaching. Like he doesn't want to watch 10 100s on 130. You know, he doesn't want to watch some sets that are you're just constantly like you're repeating things over and over and over again. And so within the set, like you're just constantly engaged. And I think that was something I was drawn to right away.
Were you always like that, Margo? Were you always like that? Or when you entered college, you needed somebody who's a lot more attentive and giving you feedback? Were you always that kind of someone?
I think when I was younger, I wasn't necessarily like that. Like I didn't desire that from a coach, but in my mind, I was giving myself a little bit of the variety in terms of like what I was thinking about. Yeah. So like, I don't know, each day I was like thinking, I was like very in tune with what I was doing and thinking about, you know, like distance off the wall and just stuff like that the coach maybe didn't coach me to do, but now I'm at a level where like I do need that.
Do you find yourself writing training programs almost in your head, like as you progress in your professional career, going through the season and thinking, okay, this is about the type of work that I should be doing at this time of year? And do you ever look at your teammates and see a similar thing with them, like have an eye for stroke technique and training programs for your teammates? Is it just like, the people that I was around who gravitated toward coaching at the end of their careers during their swimming career, it seemed like you could tell that had an inquisitive mind about, they took it 2 steps further on, this is what I think about where we are in the training cycle and how I might approach it differently. And also, by the way, I see this in you. Do you find that in yourself?
I don't think so. Not to that extent. I think I'm still very like I really trust Cooley's like plans. I don't think I'm necessarily like thinking of the program. Like I definitely am all on board with what he's programming, but I think like I write down a lot of the workouts and I do kind of think about like what I need to really emphasize in this block. And I don't necessarily share that with teammates really, I don't think. But I would say that, yeah, I write down a lot of things and I write a lot of notes like for myself, but I don't think I am creating a separate like program from what Cooley like has in place. I think I'm very much like in that program right now. I'm not like thinking about how to change it or anything.
Do you ever see teammates of yours or perhaps swimmers that you train with or see from afar, let's say, that are having a tough time in their season, and you go, do you make like mental notes for your coaching career about, oh, this is how I might approach that situation if I come across it?
Yeah, I think a lot of times at meets, I feel like that. You know, the meets that are kind of more like just markers that aren't really the championship end goal. I think I noticed that a lot with my teammates where, you know, it's really just a quiz along the way. Like the test is at the exam's at the very end, like the championship meet is like at the very end. And this is just a quiz that we're kind of just seeing where we're at. And like, so I do think of it that way with teammates, like at little like marker meets, like at tier pro series meets and things like that.
What level of coaching do you want to get into next?
It just depends. Like, depends on timing and like what opportunities are available. I'm pretty open to anything. I'm pretty interested in the high school level, like ages 13 to 18, kind of when they're starting to like get interested in swimming, and maybe they'll take it up further, maybe they won't, or maybe it's just something fun they did in high school. I kind of like that phase.
Margo, how do you know that? It's because you did a lot of clinics, because you were captain of Arizona, just because you like helping people out? How do you know you want to get into coaching? This is great. I love it. I coach.
Yeah. Well, first of all, my parents are both coaches and teachers. And so I've kind of just been around that environment for a long time. Like, my dad coached football, my mom coached volleyball. They don't know much about swimming, but I've been around coaching and just and that sort of thing. And so I think probably like a year or two when I was in like my sophomore year in college was when I started to really think about, maybe coaching would be something really cool to do. Because when I went back home during breaks, I really like to go back to my club team, and I love to talk with them and just like share with them what I learned in college. Like I thought that was just a really cool thing to do. And so that's kind of where it started, where I was like, oh, that'd be fun to like help reach kids that age and like let them know how cool and like how far they can really take the sport.
No, that's great, Margo. We need more women in swimming, especially in NCs. We did a whole podcast on this with John's wife, who coaches at past that age group. I mean, who stands out to you as your favorite female coach in any level, in any country, any level?
Well, so I have a club coach. She's probably on here, Nikki. My club coach.
I got a question from her. Hold on, but keep going.
Bring it up.
She's awesome. She's a female coach. She's coached at the Y for forever. So, growing up, I had her as a role model. And then when I took a year off of swimming, I coached at Ohio State. And I worked with Jordan Wolfram, who is now the coach at UCLA.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. And, being on some of the international trips, I've worked with Terry McKeever. Obviously, she's like the most well-known name probably for female like Division I coaches. But yeah, I totally agree. I would love to. I would love to like get into coaching, and I do think that there's kind of there's some missed opportunities there.
Yeah, I was glad to see Mel Marshall at ISL coaching. That was great.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, and Cindy Gallagher. That's the other one that was. With DC.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Definitely. Well, I pulled up Nikki's question here, so I'm going to dive you a little deeper here, because you mentioned about, Cooley and his sprint philosophy, and I always am curious of what sprinters think, kind of looking back at how sprint is addressed in age group programs, because you hear about Bob Bowman, build the base, you got to fill the cup. What are your thoughts for club coaches on how they could develop sprint swimmers better?
You're putting me
on here too. I'm sure you guys. This could be another hour, I think.
Or you can deflect and.
Well, I'm really starting to dig into this, like recently, just because I've had time to like think about it, and of course, like I don't want to discredit anyone else's ideas because I'm like totally just starting to think about this. So who knows? But what if okay, so we have to develop the base. It's all about how swimming more and stuff. That's what the current like traditional model is. But how fun would it be if we started with speed, and if we started with the theme of like, oh, you're a 10-year-old kid, would you want to get fast at swimming? Like, let's get fast. How fun does that sound? And like kind of like repackaging the way we present swimming to kids, because I think they get scared away sometimes. And some people would say, oh, well, those kids don't want to work hard, or they're scared of the two-a-days and maybe they don't belong in the sport or whatever. But I think I don't know. I think there's other ways to package it and to try to get maybe a different.
This is like USRPT. You need to call Dr. Brent Rushaw and Michael Andrew and that whole crew, in all honesty.
No, I don't know. I don't know if I'm totally on board with that either. But
Yeah, you know, it's an
Right,
interesting blend of whether or not you can flip go fast and then blend it with technique and have that translate over time. We're seeing some people do that.
yeah,
You know, but for a long time the thought was like, well, if you go fast, then you're going to go fast with poor technique. So you need to go slow with better technique and build upon that. But yeah, I mean, I wonder about the changes in attention span and how attention span and technology and everything is changing with kids today and how that influences sport. And then, so it may be that we have to go the direction that's ultimately probably more fun for us, like you're suggesting, just because of the way that kids are raised. So it's interesting dynamic.
yeah, I agree.
And then we had one more question. Oh, sorry, Margo, you have something else there?
No, you're good.
Okay. Last audience question, then Brian's got a fun game. Just so you know, I didn't tell you, we're going to experiment a new game on you, so be ready.
All
But I think you already kind of hit it on this, and a lot of coaches are already there where they don't know what to do. You know, pools are closed. The only option is dry land. You mentioned what you're doing, maybe looking back at your club self in Ohio. What do you think would be the best thing for those kids to be doing right now?
Oh, you cut out for a second. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. The question is kind of
okay.
what should people be doing for dry land if they're going to be, you know, not swimming till September?
All right. Well, so first of all, I think that's a long time, right? Like so variety, right? Like kids need variety. They need a lot of that. And so I don't know. I think a lot of what I would do is working on. So I have a like mat that I can do like somersaults on. So like somersaults and things like gymnastic type movement. Yeah, but kids are better. Kids are probably better than I am at this sort of thing.
You're better than Margo at it.
So things that like just like moving in different ways that maybe typical swimmers don't move in. Like, oh, swimmers can't do that; they'll get hurt. Like, I don't know. I'm kind of opposed to that idea. I think like we need to learn how to like move our bodies better. And so I don't know, just things that get you like in kind of uncomfortable positions. I don't know, like flipping backwards, flipping forwards, doing some rolls, things like that. Jumping over anything, like it doesn't have to be super risky, but just things that like you can just use so many different things to get to be creative. And if you have siblings, which I had an older brother, like I would definitely use that to my advantage. Maybe so we do some things with Cooley where like you would jump over someone or go underneath someone, or like they're in a plank and you have to jump over them side to side, like things where you're doing typical movements that are, but you're with a partner, and it looks a little more interesting, a little more fun.
It reminds me of Ido Porto. You know Ido Porto and his movement. Do you know who that is? Ido Porto. He does like a movement.
I don't know who that is. If you know who that is, say you know who it is in the comments.
I in a different era.
No, it's not. He's current.
Again.
Tony Irving does it. Anyway, go ahead.
I'm gonna have to look him up.
Look him up. You see exactly.
There you go. The historian's giving you homework, just what you're hoping to come on here for.
No, Mario, I totally agree. I think it's really underrated in swimming how many people, general athleticism translates in a lot of different areas. So that's a great time for people to just be focusing on being a good athlete.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're a good athlete, then it'll transfer back into the water, and maybe you'll pick up some things that might help you in a way that you didn't know necessarily. Like that dynamic movement translated to the pool, but body awareness is so key. And I think now is just a great time for athletes to just be like inquisitive about their bodies and like learning about different movements, developing different things in a safe way. But I don't know, maybe there's not enough tennis courts and stretch courts for everybody to go out there and run against resistance training. So just explore. Let's so we wanted to run through a quick rapid fire session with you. Okay, we got 10 questions and just a quick 1 or 2 word answer. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Margo, what's the hardest race in swimming?
Oh, 100-meter free.
Yeah. Latex or silicone cap?
We all swam that, so it's good.
Silicone. Sorry, I did hear you.
What's your go-to pre-race meal?
Rice and grilled chicken.
Are any color Olympic medal or a world record?
Olympic medal.
Are sprinters tougher than distance swimmers?
Oh, that's impossible to answer.
Should breaststroke be a stroke?
My brother did breaststroke, so I have to say yes. There's a place for them.
There's
a place for them. Quote of the day.
There's a place for those people in the world. You've been all over the country. Which area has the fastest swimmers? It's multiple choice. North of the Mason-Dixon line, south of the Mason-Dixon line, or west of the Mississippi?
I'm gonna say the Midwest.
Who was Mason-Dixon?
No idea.
I don't know either.
Okay, Margo, people that Google you also search for these people. Do you know any of them?
Wait, zoom in. I can barely see him. Kyle Snyder is a wrestler.
Kyle Snyder, Delia Pigantillo, Ruben. Do you know any of these people?
I don't know any of the other people. I don't know Kyle Snyder.
These are the people that are Googling you.
Is that concerning? I don't know.
I don't know. If you could have any superpower as a swimmer, what would it be?
Turbo jets.
I like it.
Yeah.
You made it off the hot seat. Good job.
All right. Round of applause for Margo there. That was a very odd array of questions.
Yeah, those are good.
All right. Well, that's how we're going to wrap up here today. But before we kind of send off here, Margo, where can people learn more about you if they want to, bring you out for a clinic or anything, or if you have anything else to plug, let us know where the people can be in touch with you.
Okay. I use Instagram probably the most, which I don't post too much, but you can reach me on that. Margo.geer is the handle for that. And then you could use my email, margomariegeer@gmail.com.
Perfect. All right, everyone. Thanks again for joining us here today. This is an edition of the Social Kick Podcast. Make sure you're safe. Keep swimming, whatever shape or form it is, and have a good night.
Thank you, buddy.
Thanks, guys. That was fun.